Awesome, awesome. All righty, welcome back everyone. Thank you so much for your patience, but we are going to go ahead and move forward and continue with the show. And I, for one, am incredibly excited for our very first keynote speaker who's going to be coming to the stage. So this next keynote speaker is going to be here to teach us how to manage people, how to nurture relationships, how to utilize our brand story in order to build an impactful business. So a couple of things about it. She's been featured in several national publications, such as Fox 35 News, Huffington Post, and Black Enterprise, just to name a few. She was recently inducted into the Forbes Coaches Council, where she is currently a very proud contributing coach and writer.
Yes, so in 2013, she launched Limitless Living LLC, and this is a full-service coaching firm where she helps others really tap into their God-given gifts, as well as create a strategy that's going to help them create the life of their dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Sierra Rainge Jones.
All right, DJ, I'm gonna have you run that back for me. Y'all gotta give me some energy up here. What's up? Like, what's up? Come on, DJ, run it back. Let's go. I'm in the right building. They told me I was coming to speak with some entrepreneurs, some dreamers, some go-getters. Am I correct? Yes. Level up. Anybody in the building ready to level up? Anybody ready to go to another level? I'm in the right building. What's up? Super excited to be here. Thank you, DJ. I just need you to turn me up a little bit. I love the energy. Y'all gotta give me back some energy. So like I said, my name is Sierra Rainge Jones. I'm the proud CEO of Limitless Media Group. My company is a full-service book and brands incubator. I help celebrities, CEOs, entrepreneurs, leaders, and advocates package their message and then turn those same messages into business and brand assets. I am from the city beautiful. I'm from Orlando, Florida. This is my hometown. My mother and my sister are here today to support me, so I'm super excited to have them with me. Give it up for my mother. She's mine, and that's where I get it from. All right, so I'm gonna have y'all stand because as a writer, I told you guys I'm a celebrity ghostwriter, but as a writer, I have fallen in love with the word. I carry this pen around because I am such a proponent of the spoken word. There is so much power in the word, and sometimes, especially those of us who come from marginalized communities, nobody's speaking life into us all the time. We're seeing messages and programming that demeans us and demonizes us, and so somebody has to stand up and say, I'm going to be the example. I may have been raised in the projects, or maybe my father was in prison, but I get to be the example. I may be the first person in my community to touch $1 million. I'm going to be the example, right? And so I just want you guys to repeat after me. I am limitless. I am capable. My dreams are valid. My dreams are valid. My ideas in my head. I'm going to touch them with my hands. All right. You guys can take a seat. And so, like I told you guys before, my company is a book and brands incubator. And so what I do is help high-profile celebrities and CEOs package their message. Now, we all have a story, right? We've all been through some things, and one of the things that's so important about your brand story is to not get caught up on all the things that you've been through, right? Those things serve as, those experiences become your equity if you're able to extract a lesson from what you've been through. It's not enough to just go through it. And a lot of people are just repeating the same cycles in the same situations and new relationships with the same drama because you're not learning from those lessons. You're not extracting that lesson. Once you learn from a situation and you apply that lesson to your life, that's when you experience a level up, right? And so when I work with my clients, I teach them how to write books, that serve as instruments to help others learn, heal, grow, evolve, and transform. But it's really, really hard to take someone through the transformation process if you yourself have not done it, right? And if you're in business, how many small business owners, you guys all have companies? Okay. Well, get ready for a journey of personal discovery and personal development. You think you signed up to sell whatever you're selling, but what you really signed up is for life to stretch you, expand your vision, expand your capacity to manage people, to manage conflict, and to manage your own limitations. When I started my company back in 2013, I was still living in Arizona. At the time, I was a juvenile detention officer, a juvenile probation officer. And what I didn't realize is that stepping into business was going to challenge every one of my limits, every one of my limits. You know what came up as I began to grow my business? A lot of childhood traumas, a lot of other limitations, because business challenges the way you show up. Business challenges the way that you engage in relationships. And whether you are dealing with your customer or potential business partner, it's going to challenge the way that you engage in relationships. And so learning how to manage conflict is key in building out any business. You can't fall out with people and say, oh, and go on social media and cut up online, because guess what? You are now representing your brand. So learning how to show up in the face of conflict and always choosing to fly higher than your business. And what happens when you fly higher than your business? You're able to remove yourself from needing to engage and have conflict one-on-one. You're able to see the bigger picture. And that's what I want to challenge you guys to do right now, is to always see the bigger picture. When you're building a business, the first thing is to challenge your imagination. What is it that you see? What is it that you see? Don't think small. Don't think, oh, my local community. Don't think my customer base is my aunties, my cousins, and the people in my neighborhood. You have to think bigger. In order to scale, your vision has to be beyond what's right in front of you. When I started my company back in 2013, and I was still in Arizona at the time, I had no idea that here we are in the middle of a pandemic, I would be connecting with celebrities. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had no idea, but this is the thing that I've learned for sure. Your gifts will make room for you if you stay committed. If you stay committed to your dream, if you stay committed to your goals, and you learn how to rise above conflict, not run away from it, but embrace it. Learn how to admit when you're wrong, and learn how to honor your power deficits. And what does that mean? If you know you're not strong in the area, get the help that you need. If you know that you keep having trip-ups in this relationship, whether it's in business or in personal, maybe it's time to see a therapist. But at what point do you decide that I'm not going to allow my own personal limitations to get in the way of me and my goals? Because a lot of times, the only thing that's stopping you is you. A lot of times, the only reason why you're not scaling or growing your business is because you don't have a vision bigger than where you are right now. The only reason why you're not able to truly level up in your career and in your business is because you can't see beyond the challenges that you're facing right now. So learning how to overcome adversity, learning how to be solution-oriented. So many people are still stuck because they stay stuck on the problems. They're nursing and rehearsing the same problems. At some point, if you want to level up and rise up, you're going to have to come up with a solution. You're going to have to come up with a solution. There are solutions all around us if you see them and if you serve them. There are also problems all around us if you see them and if you serve them. The choice is yours. Which will you focus on? Will you focus on problems, or will you focus on solutions? Because whatever you focus on is what will expand in your life. And I'll tell you guys something. Those of us in this room, I don't know where y'all from, but I've lived in every hood here. I've lived in South Apopka. I live across town, Pine Hills. You name it, I've been there. What I know is that we can afford to continue to play small. Right. We can't afford it. We cannot afford it. Sometimes I walk into rooms and I'm the only young Black girl in the room, and I'm literally sitting at the table with billionaires, and they're talking about how they just invested $500 million, and they're talking about equity, and they're collaborating, deciding how can I leverage your resource, and hey, you have this resource over here, this investment over here, use my yacht. And it's just like, the conversations are mind-boggling. I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, man, my people are so far behind. We don't have these conversations. And as soon as we get money, the first thing we do is we go out and spend it. And so we have to make that transition from being consumers to producers. We have to make that transition from always being ready to spend, to look the part, and to really invest in things that are going to give us a return on our investment. Some of you guys are not making the money that you deserve to make because number one, you're not making smart investments, you're not investing in the right thing, and you're not giving back. Contribution is a major principle in building wealth. If you're hoarding the money, you're not giving it back. I tithe every Sunday. I give back to nonprofit organizations at minimum, because if you're hoarding the money, but you're showing the universe that you don't believe in abundance, you think you just gotta hold it all in. Let me step this way. But when you hoard the money, what you're saying is, I believe this is all that I'm going to have. And that's not. There's a reason why money is called currency, because it is supposed to flow. It is supposed to move. Money is supposed to move. So what happens when we take money in our community and we're moving it elsewhere? We have to learn how to keep the money in our communities a little bit longer. Money circulates in Jewish communities 6 times before it goes out anywhere else. And we have to develop that same mindset. We have to give one another more grace. Because y'all do the most when you guys go online. We have one poor experience with a small business owner, and you go online and you bash them. And this is what happens. You're not giving them the grace and the space to grow. Because none of us, I don't know about you guys, I'm going to speak for myself. I didn't have a template. I didn't have an example. I had to learn and grow through trial and error, pick myself up by the bootstraps, learn and grow along the way. Nobody had a publishing company that took me under their arms and said, Sierra, this is how you do it. These are the investments that you make. These are the do's and these are the don'ts. I'm first generation college graduate, first generation on track to make $1 million. Nobody needs an example. I had to learn along the way. So with that being said, we have to learn how to give one another more grace. And on the other end of that, we have to commit to excellence as business owners. We have to commit to excellence. And I always tell my mentees, go the extra mile. It's no traffic. There is no, every time I go the extra mile, I'm usually by myself. And guess what happens? You show up and you stand out when you go the extra mile. Right? Understand that you have no idea what you don't know. When I first started with my publishing company, I was investing almost $20,000 in marketing, right? Now, most people say, well, that's great, you should have a marketing budget, and you should. However, my clientele was not online. You see, there was a woman that gave me a chance. I had no idea that she was a multimillionaire socialite in Miami, pretty much the biggest thing in Miami. I had no idea who she was. I was just showing up being myself, and my gift made room for me. She invited me into her home, and what do I know? I walked into this beautiful mansion on Venetian Island. She gave me a chance. I ghosted her, looked for her, and she happened to be a celebrity interior designer. And so she began to connect me with all of her clients who were also celebrities. And what I realized is that I'm spending all this money in marketing, but I don't have to market myself online because my clients are circulating my names and names. I started getting calls from Nigeria. You guys know what connects to she sang that beautiful gospel song, Waymaker, Miracle Worker. I'm sitting in my office, I'm getting calls from Nigeria from her and her team on Zoom, wanted to hop on a call with me. This little girl from Pine Hills graduated from Evans High School, Florida A&M first generation graduate, and my name is in the room all the way in Nigeria. So if you heard about you, your writing skills, your gifts will make room for you. But you have to show up. You have to commit to excellence. And you're gonna have to learn how to manage people, right? Managing people has been one of my biggest pain points, one of my biggest challenges. And the more I learn this lesson, the more I'm able to grow in capacity and in stature and in favor with God and with man, because I'm always committing to the lesson. When I'm faced with a challenge, and challenges are not new to me. I think I've been facing challenges my whole life, but I think that God is pleased with me because when I'm faced with a challenge, you won't see me run, you won't see me hide, you'll always see me say, now where's the solution in this? Because what I am is, I'm committed to getting past this. Whatever I'm faced with, this will not stop me. It may cause me to yield and assess where I'm at, but I'm always focused on how do I get over this? How do I get around this? Who are the people that I need on my team as allies? And that's another thing we have to consider in our community. You need allies. When you're building your business, you need a mentor, you need a sponsor, you need an advisor. A mentor is someone who's gonna go to bat for you, someone who's gonna give you advice, someone who's gonna kind of gauge you along the way. A sponsor is very different. A sponsor is somebody who's investing in you. They're putting their money where their mouth is. They're paying for classes. They're helping you with your business startup. And an advisor is someone who knows what they know, They're vetted. I like my advisors real wise and a little seasoned. I like my advisors who've been around the block. And a lot of my friends, I'll tell you guys right now, I'm 33, all of my friends are over 50. That's just me though, because I'm so committed to learning and growing. You won't catch me at all the parties, but you will catch me somewhere with a mentor asking them, say, how did you build this? How did you grow this? When you were faced with this type of challenge, how did you get through it? Because I know what I'm building. I have 3 children, and I'm not satisfied with being the only millionaire in my family. I won't be satisfied until generational poverty is broken off of everything that I'm connected to. I won't be satisfied until I come through Orlando and I'm seeing more and more people heal and elevate and grow. I won't be satisfied until my whole community is able to say that nobody's hungry and nobody's left behind, right? I'm not satisfied. Success doesn't feel as good, but you're the only one that's able to achieve it. It doesn't feel as good. It's only lonely at the top if you don't bring anybody else with you. And so we have to learn how to truly be a community. I know in Western society, they've taught us this whole philosophy of survival of the fittest or survival of the strongest, but that's not our default setting. That's not where we come from. We come from a mindset where we're survival of the group. We're all going to take care of the land. We're all going to eat off the land. We're all going to grow. And the only way that we're going to survive is if we get back to that mindset. We got to get back to that mindset. You know who's going to save us? Us. That's who's going to save us. And it's going to require a transformation of mindset. We got to stop focusing on the wrong things. We got to stop focusing on BBLs and all this silly stuff. It's silly. Why are you spending $20,000 on your body and you don't own nothing? You don't own nothing. And I'm not knocking it. What I'm saying is we got to change our mindset. There are things that are way more important than you having a big booty, sis. It's things that are way more important. We got to think bigger. We got to think generational. And when you start to think generational, you make different decisions. You move different. You invest different. You build different relationships. You connect with people on a different level when your vision is beyond the right now. We got to stop being so caught up on immediate gratification. What can I get right now? How does this serve me right now? How does this make me feel right now? I'm so happy that my ancestors were not so caught up on the here and the now. I'm so glad that somebody had a vision bigger than themselves and said, if I do this right now, even if it means sacrificing my life, that future generations will have an opportunity to live in environments where they weren't segregated and weren't slavery. Somebody has to have a bigger vision. And I challenge every one of you, I want it to be you. It has to start with you. Have a bigger vision for what's possible for your life, for your business, for your family, and for your seeds. What are you building for those who are going to come behind you? What are we leaving our children besides debt and heartache and recycled trauma? Who in your family is going to show up and be the difference? Will it be you? Or are you still waiting for grandma or uncle to come back and apologize? Will it be you who decides to heal? Because whether you believe it or not, it's going to be really, really hard to manage a multi-million-dollar company if you're dealing with all these different brokenness and traumas. I'm just going to be real with you because the whole different ball game is different. You can't be getting triggered up at every little time something doesn't go your way, or somebody looks at you the wrong way. In order to have the capacity to manage multi-million-dollar businesses, you're going to have to learn how to manage conflict, manage your emotions, manage expectations, and truly leverage relationships. My company is as successful as it is right now because of my relationships. My relationships have become my biggest form of currency. If I never post another post on social media, please believe my name is being mentioned in rooms with people of influence, affluence, wealth, and power. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that so you guys can understand the power of God and the power of transformation when you commit to a vision that is bigger than yourself. And this didn't start this year. This started when I was 19 years old. I got pregnant as a freshman at FAMU. And I had every reason to quit. I was actually evicted from my apartment. They came in and locked the door, put a sticker on the door, and I prayed and I said, God, I'm not going home. There's nothing for me there. I can't. What can I do? And I was in a tight spot. I don't think y'all understand. I was 19, with the baby, with an eviction, locked out of my apartment, college club apartments, all of my daughter's toys on the front line, And I don't know if you guys know about the financial aid department at FAMU, and I love my school, but I was waiting. I was waiting on my financial aid check, and I went to my front office and I said, is there anything we can do? She said, yes, you can pay your rent. And I didn't have it. And so I went down to the financial aid office and said, Sierra, your money was deposited yesterday. I checked my account so quick, cried, prayed, thank you, God, because I knew that it was nothing but his power. First of all, nobody's financial aid checks come on time at FAMU. I hope things have changed since then. But it was nothing, I just knew it was God, and I took it as a sign. God, I may have been in a tight spot, but you're right here with me. And as long as you were with me, God, I'll go when you tell me to go. I'll speak, I'll move, I'll grow, I'll push, I'll invest, I'll give back. You can use me, I'll be the example. Because what I refuse to do is live an ordinary life in an ordinary way. I'm with Drake when he said, I want a long life, a legendary one. He was talking to me, I don't know about y'all. He was talking to me, I want a long life and a legendary one, because we didn't come this far to go through the same old things. Like, somebody has to be bold enough to say, I'm going to be bold enough and daring enough to do something different. Even if that means I got to be the first one to go to therapy. I got to be the first one to heal. I got to be the first one to learn how to manage money. Somebody has to do it. Will it start with you? Will it start with you? And the reason why brand story is so important, and I had no idea when I got into this what exactly brand story was, but people would always come to me and say, oh my God, Sierra, you have such an incredible story. You have such an incredible story. To see where you are right now, the things you've been through, your story. And I realized that my story was resonating with people and inspiring people, and I had not even realized the value in that. And so I wrote a book. I'm kind of going off track, the timeline. The book came first. So I wrote a book. My very first book was called To Dance in the Rain. And during that time of my life, my husband's grandmother had passed away, who I was very close with. I was actually her caregiver. And after she passed away, I went through this long process of grief. And if you've ever lost someone you're close to, you understand that dark cloud that kind of follows you as you learn how. The best way I can describe it is when you see a dog running around, he only has 3 legs. He's missing that 4th leg, but he's hopping around as if the leg is still there. That's the best way that I describe grief, because it's like you still have this hole, but you just learn to move through life without it. You always remember what's missing, but you just learn how to keep moving on. And so I started to blog on Facebook. I was just kind of write what I was feeling that day. And the goal was, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get through this. And so there was a publisher who happened to see some of my posts online. She reached out to me, and we ended up turning all of my, she said, Sierra, we should write a book. I'm like, I'm not a writer, I'm a juvenile detention officer. And she's like, yeah, but I've been following your words, and they're really, really inspiring. And so she literally took all of my posts offline and turned those into a book. That book was called To Dance in the Rain, 31 Days of Faith and Perspective. At the time, I was only 23 years old. That book landed me my own radio segment at a radio station down in Arizona. And then from that, all these speaking engagements started to come out of nowhere. People wanted me to speak, and I would show up, and it's like, you're Sierra? I'm like, yeah, who are you looking for? So you just expected someone a little bigger, older, like, this is me. All 110 pounds, 5'1", this is me. And so whenever I would go to speaking, people would say, oh my gosh, you're so young. How do you have so much wisdom and you're so young? And so I decided to write another book. And in this book, it was entitled Live Limitless. And in this book, I decided to share more of the stories, more of the things I had gone through that had allowed me to come to that place of wisdom. Let me tell you guys something. Wisdom is not about age, because I know a bunch of old fools, right? Yeah. Wisdom is all about, are you able to learn from the lessons that life gives you? And the faster you learn, the faster you level up. And then here comes another lesson. Don't ever get too comfortable now. Don't you get too comfortable. Because there's another lesson coming, but there's always grace at that level. There's always grace at every new level. And so when I wrote Live Limitless, I shared more of my story, some of the things I had gone through, some of the things that I was able to overcome. And then I was really able to resonate with other millennials and other girls from my community. And so what happens is Live Limitless, which started as a book, became this whole entire brand, right? It became this story that resonated with individuals who are overcoming adversity, individuals who come from underdeveloped communities, who are committed to doing something different in their lives, who are committed to greatness, who are committed to excellence, who are okay with saying, I'll be that one. Even if it's me, I'll be the example. And so I began to build an entire community around it. And then that's how my brand story allowed me to build this amazing brand that has turned into a very profitable and influential business for me today. So I said all that to say, don't discount what you've been through, but don't stay stuck there either. I've seen people write books and the whole entire book. I'm like, man, I need to see a therapist after reading this book because I feel like the author just dumped all their trauma on me. Like, that's the worst feeling ever that you want to give your reader, by the way. Your book should not be a dumpster of all the things that you've been through because that's a transfer of energy. Now your reader's reading it like, nah, I just feel so sad all of a sudden. Like, oh my gosh. Your book should share story, but it should also share content and a call to action. The content in your book should always be what you've learned and what your reader can walk away with, right? Is there anybody in the room that wants to write a book? All right, I'm gonna give y'all some free game real quick. All right, you guys wanna write this down. All right, so the first things first, when you're deciding to write a book, you need to understand who is my ideal reader avatar. And you're gonna create a profile for this ideal reader avatar. Understanding what are their pain points, what are their challenges, what are their core values, what are the things that resonate with them, and then where do they hang out, right? And so once you develop your ideal reader avatar, this gives you a better idea of who exactly your reader is, their age group, their marital status, their culture. And so when you're writing your introduction chapter, I'll make this real easy for y'all. Your introduction chapter is an open letter to your ideal reader. So let's just say somebody gives me a topic of any book.
Renewing your mindset.
Renewing your mindset?
Yeah.
All right, so renewing your mindset. So let's just say your ideal reader, maybe youth, college students who come from adverse conditions, and now they need to rewire the way that they think so they can abandon a poverty mindset and then adopt an abundance mindset, right? And so your introduction chapter would be letting them know that you understand exactly who they are, where they come from. So you would use language like, I know what it's like to not have nothing. I know what it's like to be the first person in your family to decide to do something different. I wrote this book with you in mind. In this book, I'm going to teach you how to transition from lack and scarcity thinking to adopt a more efficient way of thinking. It's going to bring you more abundance, right? And so your introduction chapter is really just an open letter to your ideal reader. You're letting them know that, number one, I see you, I hear you, I used to be where you were, I've healed from where you are, and now I have a solution for you. Keyword is solution. So if you're writing your introduction chapter and you get stuck at the solution part, you're not ready yet, and that's okay. Keep learning and keep growing because your book should be a tool that helps others transform from your book promise. Every brand, every business, and every book should have a promise. When I engage with your brand, when I engage with your business, when I read your book, what is that transformation that I can expect to experience? And so in his case, it's learning how to have a winning mindset. So if he doesn't have a winning mindset, do I want to read his book? Maybe not. I want to read a book for someone who has the fruit to show it. Who has the fruit? You can always know a tree by its fruit, right? And so you want your book is an opportunity for you to position yourself as an expert, and all that is showcasing your fruit. I've been where you are, but look where I am now. So not only am I able to resonate by sharing my story with you, but I'm not going to leave you stuck in the story. I've overcome it. I'm going to pull you out too. This is the solution that I have to offer. And so when you identify your ideal reader, you're going to come up with 7 to 10 things that specifically resonate with your ideal reader. That can be challenges, pain points, core values, just whatever is going to help them transform. You're going to take those 7 to 10 things, and now those 7 to 10 things become your chapters, right? And so in each chapter, so now you got 7 to 10 chapters. You're going to go back to each theme and say, okay, number one, here's my theme. What is a story, a case study, something that happened in popular culture that I can share that's going to help my reader, sort of draw my reader in? Either inspire them or help me frame the story in a way that they understand it and they feel the emotion that I desire to evoke in them. That's the story component. And then also for every chapter, you want to have content. The content is what you're teaching them, what they're going to walk away with. What are the stats? What's the research? What are they learning from this, right? And then the last thing is a call to action. Your call to action is a transformational step that your reader can take in order to experience the transformation that your book is promising. So for instance, with this example, when he says about the winning mindset, a call to action in that chapter may be identify your limits, identify your limiting beliefs. When you're faced with a challenge or when you're faced with something that you don't have, Do you sulk and complain? Do you blame others? Do you get mad at those who are winning? Do you become a hater? Or do you find a solution? So that call to action is going to be an action step, a tool or resource that your reader can use in order to adopt the promise that your book promises. Y'all got that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And also, I'm gonna have my sister pass out a postcard. On this postcard, there's a QR code on the back. And what I've done is I've unlocked a free module. I do have an author activation course. It's an 8-module course that walks you through the author manuscript development process. And so my sister's gonna pass out some postcards when I'm done. If you scan that QR code, it's gonna take you directly to our website. It's gonna give you a free module. This free module is called the Discover Your Why section. And I think this is the most important because you have to know why. You always start with why. Why is it important for you to start this business, write this book, or build this brand? Who benefits from it? Why is it important? How does it help the world at large? What is the reason? Right? And so I always want to encourage you guys to start with why. So before I go, I'll open up for a few questions, and I do have a few more minutes. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be super happy and grateful to answer any questions that you guys may have for me.
Any questions?
Anybody has questions?
You covered all bases.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. And I'm super excited. Anytime I get an opportunity to come and connect and to share, I really enjoy this part of it. I've been traveling a lot all around the world. So whenever I get a chance to come back to my hometown, I'm always so grateful and so honored. And I wish you guys all massive success. I pray that your business prospers. What'd you say? Yes. Okay. So where's the mic?
Right here.
All right. So I answer this question and I'll answer yours next.
Hello again, everybody.
What's up?
So for a new author, someone who wants to become an author, right? What are some steps they should take or things they should consider when it comes to publishing?
So the thing that you should consider when it comes to publishing is, number one, the best distribution. So you can decide, are you gonna go with a traditional publisher? So the traditional publishers are like the Simon & Schusters, the Penguins of the world. And a lot of the time, it's really hard to get those kind of book deals unless you have an agent. And it's really, really hard to get an agent if you're not a celebrity or you're not someone with a lot of notoriety. So the best way to get into publishing is going to be either self-publishing or a publishing company that sets you up for independent distribution. And so what does that look like? My company, we do set that up for you guys, but there are also opportunities for you to do it yourself on Amazon. Right? And so if you're gonna do it yourself and you don't want to invest in a traditional publishing company, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have a visually appeasing book cover. And there's some really cheap resources like Fiverr or Upwork where you guys can go and get a book cover done at a reasonable price. Number two, you're gonna make sure that you invest in an editor. You want to invest in someone that can do content editing, mechanical editing, and then some type of style editing, a style guide editing. That's gonna be the second thing you want to invest in. So once that's done, of course, after you have built your ideal reader avatar, because you're going to build your marketing campaign off of your ideal reader avatar. Where are they? What makes them buy? What makes them sell? What language resonates with them? And so you're going to have all that in mind. And so if you're doing a book about having a winning mindset, you need to be in rooms where these conversations are already taking place and people are already committed to learning and growing and winning, right? And so have a great cover, Fiverr.com if you don't want to hire a publishing company. Invest the most money in your editor. Someone that can do, again, content editing, mechanical editing, and then a style guide editing. That's gonna be your biggest thing. And then have a budget for marketing when it comes to your book. How are you going to get in front of the people who need your book the most? And that's a really great thing to consider. Who are the people that are most likely to like, love, buy, and recommend my book? Because those are the people that you need to be in front of. Okay? I hope that answers your question.
Sorry, I'm writing something else. Thank you so much. My name is Monda Land, with Land Consultants, but I've enjoyed your presentation. So my question to you is, do you think everyone should be an author? And if so, is it traditional brick and mortar type of physical, or should they do an ebook?
That's a great question. I do believe that everybody has something to teach. I think that you just need to be honest with yourself about what you have really learned, right? So if you're really still going through the process, I just don't think it's ethical to position yourself as an expert. And the way that we do books is that we use our books as a launching pad for your brand or for your business, or to position yourself as someone of authority in that particular industry. So anybody can write a book because we've all learned and mastered something. Just make sure that your content is focused on what you have mastered and not what you're still learning. And if you're still learning it, be transparent about that process in your book as well. And you can invite your readers to go on this journey with me. Right now, I'm committing to living a healthy lifestyle. I still have 80 pounds I want to lose, but I want to invite you on this journey with me. So transparency is always key. That's a really great way to start to build your tribe as well. So anybody can be an author, but it's all about what do you know, what have you mastered, and what can you teach? Because the book should be tools that inspire, educate, and inform. You're welcome.
Greetings, Queen. Thank you so much. I am actually a songwriter, and I definitely have a story that I would love to share. And I wanted to know, what are some of your rituals that help you stay creative and inspired?
That is such a great question. I'm so happy that you asked that because I am a creative. And so for me, my environment has to be set in order for me to produce on my best, at my optimum level. And as a CEO with such high profile clientele, a lot of times they all want 24-hour access to it. My phone is always ringing. I have an idea. We have this pressure. So there's always something going on in order, and that drains your creativity. The thing about creativity is that creativity is energy, and even from a scientific level, energy cannot be destroyed. It can just only be redistributed. So you have to ask yourself, where's my energy being channeled right now? And so for me, in order to get into a creative space, I have a really strict self-care regimen. And that includes me turning off my phone, taking time off. For me, I can't focus if my entire room is not clean, my house isn't clean. And so when I'm going into my creative process, I call it ghost mode because I'm a ghostwriter. And so when I go into ghost mode, I water my plants, I clean the house, even if it's already clean. I just have this routine of cleaning down the counters, I'm wiping them down with lemon scents because your senses really evoke emotion from you. And you have to remember when you're creating something, whatever you're putting into it is what the other person's going to receive on the other end of that. So I'm always really intentional to make sure that, number one, my mind, my energy, my thoughts, and my intentions are aligned with what I want to put out. And so if that means getting myself in the right tone, that's really important. I love Bishop T.D. Jakes. So I will turn on a sermon so quick while I'm cleaning, and that just helps me to get centered. And then Bishop, he always talks about committing to a bigger vision, and so that helps me. So when I'm feeling small, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Does it sound right? Does this make sense? Are they going to love it? I remove myself, I get out of the way, and I remember this is bigger than me, and it's not about me, it's about who this is going to serve. And so you got to figure out what makes you your most inspired, right? And then detach from anything that drains you. It can be phone calls from friends. It can be negative social media consumption, whatever that is. Figure out what's draining you and remove it. And then decide, okay, what inspires me? Is it colors? Is it paint? Is it outdoors? For me, it's plants and bright sounds and soft music. I listen to this thing called lo-fi on Instagram.
Let's go.
I love lo-fi. So if you ever want to get in a creative space, that always does it for me. And so I play that and I listen to the 4 a.m. study music or the soft music, but it's really, really good. And so I would say, in order to stay inspired, remove the things that drain you, do more of what inspires you. And if you're having a hard time finding inspiration, unplug altogether and then go within yourself and say, what does my soul need right now? What is my soul requiring from me right now? Because we always create from our heart and our soul. So when we create from the brain, we get drained. A true artist and a true creative knows that you don't create from your mind, you create from your soul and from your heart. And so when you find yourself not being inspired, ask the question, what is my soul requiring of you right now? And then do that. And it could be rest, it could be more water, it could be more inspiring relationships, but always ask that question, what is my soul requiring of you right now?
Okay, sorry. Hi, I'm Tatiana. Sorry if you haven't met me yet. But I am like 29. I have 3 kids as well, and so I relate very much to your like young and like trying to like get a business started. My question kind of directly affects that like mom setting, right? How do you handle being a mom, right? And being a successful business owner, right? How does that affect, like, do you have mom guilt? Like, I know that's like a big thing, right? Like, I guess my thing is like, I'm watching you and I'm like, my eyes are like, you know, the heart eye emoji where you're just like, oh my gosh, fangirl. But I want to know how that affects you guys. Feel me, right? Because you're like sitting here like, what? Yes, but yeah, no. So I guess I wanted to know, like, how does that affect you as a mom, right? I have 3 girls under the age of 6, and so I just want to know, like, you know, for me, I'm wanting to like boost my business, but I also am like, I have 3 girls, you know, how do I show them how to be a strong mom, but also, yeah, you know, so
That's a
that
great
balance.
The first thing, the way that you show them is by being an example. So I too have 3 children. I used to feel a lot of mom guilt. That's because I was doing it all alone. And so what I had to do is I had to learn how to trust, and I had to become very, very intentional about building out my support system. And so, like right now, I have my mother with me. I have my sister. I have 5 brothers, 4 sisters. I have my dad. I have my grandma. I have my husband's 7 sisters and his brother. I rely on my support system because you can never do it alone. Rome was not built in a day, and it wasn't built by one person. And so I had to learn how to be intentional about nurturing relationships. And that's why those relationships become so important, because you're only going to be able to go as far as your healthiest relationships. And so for me, I had to start working on that. How do I give more time to the people who I need in my life? How do I add more value to them? Because when you're showing up for other people, they're going to show up for you. Even the Bible tells us, if you want a friend, you got to show yourself friendly. And I use that mantra all the way across the board. And so I knew that in order to become this high-powered CEO, it was going to require a lot of travel, a lot of time, and a lot of emotional equity. And having 3 children, I didn't want my children to be casualties of my success. And so I had to start building people around them who I knew loved them just as much as I did, who understood my values for my children and were able to uphold them. And then I had to release myself from always having to be the first one, first in command, and put other people in charge. And so being able to delegate, and that is not just for your personal life and your home, that's also for your business. You're gonna have to learn how to trust other people to do what they can do well, and then highlighting what other people can do well and putting them in the proper position for that particular role. And so mom guilt comes, especially when my 3-year-old comes in and she's like, Mommy, you gotta leave again? And it's like, yes, I do, but grandma's gonna take you guys to the water park. Oh, okay, see you. And so just building out that support system, and it requires that you nurture your relationships. And I want you guys to be really intentional about that. So I want you guys to think about the 5 people that you need in your life right now, whether that's a mentor, a babysitter, somebody to do mom dates with, an advisor, an editor, whatever that looks like in your life and in your business. Who are the 5 people that you need? And ask yourself, what can you give to them? Because we always show up in situations like, oh, girl, I need you for this. Or I'm going to pick your brain about this. Can you help me with this? And it's just like, well, what's the difference? And so any type of healthy relationship, whether it's your husband, your girlfriend, it's going to have to be an exchange of value. So think about the top 5 people you need in your life to grow, whether it be in personal life or business life. Think about what you need from them, and then how can you add value to them as well? Because the best relationships are mutually beneficial. And then start to show up. I had to start getting a calendar. Okay, this person's birthday is coming up. Even if I can't be there personally, I'm going to send a gift. I'm going to pay for the DJ. I'm going to do this, because people see that. People see that, and you never know when you're going to meet somebody. Because I can tell you one thing: if you're growing and you're scaling and your vision is bigger than yourself, you are going to need people. So be careful how you treat people. Be careful how you honor people, because you're going to need people, right? All right, so I hope that this has been inspiring. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to pour into you guys. I wish you guys massive success, transformational healing, growth, and total wellness. May you all live the life of your dreams, build a company that blows your own mind, and always remember to live limitless. Thank you guys so much.
How did you guys like that? I need a little bit more, because I feel like I want to scream. How did you guys? Sierra, you're amazing. Since you walked in the room, I mean, I don't care what it is. When she sends us a video to invite people to Sis,
I was like, y'all need to stop playing with me like this. She too dope, you know what I mean? But anyways, she is just one of the many people that are here to pour into you guys and give you those gems. Like, this is something you would typically have to pay a consultation for. Something that you have to call and say, listen, I want to pick your brain. Let me take you out to lunch. What does that cost? You guys just got that for your ticket price today, and you got more to come. So thank you again, Queen.